15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you're out here, now you're family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for tonight's episode. We have a surprise episode. DT's got some plans this weekend, so we wanted to get at you guys and make sure that we got our content out. So I really appreciate you guys being flexible. It is training camp time, so you got to make some adjustments and different things like that. So really excited for tonight's episode. Joining me tonight, as always, riding shotgun, my co-host, Adam Dump Truck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. We are getting through training camp. Pittsburgh up there at St. John Fisher has just concluded. The Bills obviously keep practicing next week after their preseason game this Saturday. But DT, we are rolling through. I mean, it's on the horizon. Like I said last week, we're getting pretty close. I mean, Baltimore will be here Sunday night before you know it.
Hey, Nickel City, what's up, Rob? Thursday night tonight, but I think a lot of our listeners will still get us tomorrow. So thanks for having me on again. A pleasure as always. The dog days of summer, it was just the 4th of July, it felt like, and we were gearing up for camp. And now on August 7, what's on September 7? 8:30, kick against the Ravens. We're gearing up, baby. Let's go. It's in the air. Preseason, there was the Hall of Fame game last week, but preseason kicks off tonight for real. And it's ready, baby. It's within a month. It's going to come so fast. Summer's always busy. We'll be there 8:30 in exactly 30 days, September 7th. Let's get it rocking.
Yeah, man, let's get it rocking. I'm really excited for it. I'm ready for it. And it's a situation where, it's funny because all of the narratives and everything that's been going around with training camp, everything's pretty much been positive. Great training camp, great turnout there at St. John Fisher. The fans came out and supported in a great way like they always do. And we'll talk about Hard Knocks at the end of the episode. But, an interesting situation that we've been monitoring here, DT, and we kind of talked about it before training camp started, how we thought things would go and different things like that. The James Cook little saga. That's why I named the episode the way that I did tonight. It's hitting a little bit of a crossroads. And I'll explain it the way that it's easiest for me to digest is that for those who don't know, from Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, earlier in the week, they had said Diana Rossini. There was a report from Tom Pelissero that said, listen, these sides are not far apart. They're closer than you think. And because of that, it's a situation where, listen, look out. This thing could get done sooner than later because of the fact that the sides are not that far apart. Well, in conjunction with that, James Cook, he goes ahead and he holds in for the first time. I think he made the first 8 practices or something like that, 7 practices. He was there for training camp, not losing any money, not even holding in to make sure that he's protected from fines. And then all of a sudden he sits out, DT, and he holds in. And it was interesting because had that report not come out, it definitely would have looked weird to me. So from my perspective, when I saw that it was Tom Pelissero first and then Diana Rossini the next day talking about how James Cook was holding in, I thought that it was a situation where it was signaling the fact that this thing is almost crossing the finish line. We are almost there. It's a situation where, listen, we're close. We're trying to hammer out a few details on guaranteed money. We're trying to hammer out a few details on, length, whatever it be, 3-4 year deal, whatever the case may be. But I really took it as a case where we are really close to getting this thing done. And it turns out that There's no deal today. There was no deal right after that report came out. Still not a deal. Sean McDermott kind of stepped in it today when he talked about how he expected everybody to be at practice, hoped that James Cook would be at practice, almost kind of made it seem like James was going to be there at practice. And it was a situation, DT, where, he didn't show up again today. It's another holding day. I wanted to kind of go through it because I'm trying to figure out and pinpoint what his end goal. Obviously, his end goal is to get paid and to get that extension. But with the Kyron Williams extension earlier in the week, DT, I could have swore the holding was in conjunction with this thing getting across the line, and it's still not done.
Yeah, and you like to hope that's true, right? You'd like to hope that it's close, or either they're going to pay him or they're not. And either way, is he going to play or he's not? I think he will play. Obviously, we talked about that. He's not going to miss game checks. But I saw a pretty funny video, and it was like trying to read James Cook this offseason. And it's a guy, and it's like it looks like he's about to get on a bike, and then he like jumps over the bike and gets in a car, and he's going to drive the car, but then he's actually sitting in the back seat, and it's like you never know the next move. And that's kind of how it's been. We kind of talked all the cryptic tweets in the offseason, and you didn't know, and then just showed up to minicamp like it was fine and said all the right things and said, we're a Super Bowl team, and I need to be practicing on this team to be, on that way to the Super Bowl. And I think he came in and did that due diligence in early camp, and now, I think he must think he's got enough of camp. He's loose enough, and let's get it done, and I'll come back a few weeks before the season and ride with you a $10, $11, $12 million man. But I don't like it, Rob. We talked about it. Like, we got to a point this offseason where we were just like, you don't have to agree about paying running backs, but like just kind of do this so we don't have to worry about it. And then it wasn't an issue, and now it's kind of annoying again. So we'll see here. But I think we still, like I said, still got 30 days till we kick. Like to see some preseason work from him. He needs those reps. He is holding in, though, right? You not showing up. Like, he is there. He is
there, yeah. Brandon Beane actually, Sean McDermott actually confirmed that he's going to meetings and things like that. He's a part of the team in that respect, and he's making his appearances, whatever the case may be. It's not that he's just chilling in the dorm rooms or anything like that at St. John Fisher. So, here's the interesting thing about it for me is that, again, maybe I misread the situation, and I think that I think it could have been easy to. I feel like I have a little bit of leeway and get some grace in that, because when Diana Rossini or Tom Pelissero starts it off with saying that it's close and then he holds in, my whole thing I think that was on Monday. My whole thing was like, listen, man, he's not trying to get injured, obviously, because if they're getting closer, then it's kind of a situation where, you want to pull yourself out, make sure that everything stays. Hey, listen, I don't want anything to snag and to hold this up. And then in addition to the injury part was that, listen, the only leverage I have as James Cook is to withhold my services. So listen, we're close. Let's get this done. You know what I mean? My agent told me last night that we're quibbling over, a couple $1 million here and there over guaranteed money, or we're quibbling over, you know what I mean? I know how that sounds to the regular Bills Mafia members and regular people out there in the world. But listen, we're quibbling over a couple $1 million. Listen, I'm only able to withhold my services. I'm serious about playing here with the Buffalo Bills. I think he actually said, like, last week or whatever the case may be, I want to retire a Bill if I can. I want to play here. I enjoy it here, that type of thing. So I thought that earlier in the week when he started to hold in, it was kind of showing you that, listen, I know that my only leverage is to withhold services. Let's get this thing done in good faith and be done with it, because of the fact that my agent told me that we're so close. Now I'm kind of wondering if they are so close, or who put that. Now I'm starting to wonder who put that out. It doesn't make too much sense for Brandon Beane to say that they're real close, because then if they don't strike a deal, it makes him look bad. So could I conceive that the agent put it out that, hey, we're close, to kind of put pressure on the Bills? And I'm kind of now, after today, him missing practice, I'm kind of leaning towards that way, that I think it was the agent that had to put it out,
Well, here's a theory. I don't know if I believe this theory, but this is a theory I've been thinking about with all this, right? I hope it's right. I hope it's close. I hope it gets done. Whatever. I'm now an advocate to pay the man. what if his theory was, I'm going to come start up camp, show myself as the useful weapon I am into this offense, and then midway through, if we don't have anything, start the holdout. Then that gets everybody on this team, Joe Brady, Josh Allen, this offense that's used to him in the lineup through practice for the first 2 weeks. Then all of a sudden he's out. Does he kind of try to play that where it's like Josh Allen just goes to Bean and says, dude, we had him the first 2 weeks. It's working well. We're popping. Get him signed. And is that a strategy from James Cook to try to give the people a little taste and then pull it out to make him a little more wanted, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting
even though he's only this is his first negotiation. We got to think he's been around, high profile
brother.
with his brother. They know how to, he got multiple contracts and you know how to work the business side of the NFL. Is this a little dangle the carrot? See, I'm here. I'm good. Look how good the offense is when I'm practicing. Now I pull out. You have to get it done.
Yeah, but and kind of it's almost in the same case that like if we're close to a deal, or if the numbers are right, and it's just guarantee, or it's just, whatever the case may be, then at that point in time, I'm withholding my services to let you know my value. We're in practice right now, you know what I mean? And they only have certain amount of padded practices and different things like that. So there's not much that's really going on. My thing is that maybe he was trying to send a message that this offense will look a lot different without me. So if you think that Ray Davis and Ty Johnson and Frank Gore, or I know that McDermott said today that they worked out some cats and stuff like that. And I understand that's Darrington Evans, but they worked out some outside free agents. And he didn't say who, but he said he's got his eye on a couple of guys. Or what are the case? Listen, I understand that a lot of that is posturing. I understand that a lot of that is playing the game. It's a business. However, I think that this Bills offense would look dramatically different if James Cook wasn't the feature back because of his explosiveness. So because of that, I almost can't fault him for pulling the last card, because he really doesn't have any cards left to play. If Brandon Beane balks at this last attempt of the hold-in, I mean, we've already agreed that he is not missing checks. He literally came to OTAs and said, they say, why are you here? He said, I'm not, I like my money. There's no way that he's getting paid $5 million and change, and he's getting ready to lose game checks, for a stance. So I understand that his brother plays a part in it. I know that they know how to play the game. I guess I would just want to say that I was surprised by today that there wasn't a deal. So it's almost like, well, what's the holding for? You know what I mean? So who put that information out there? I'm just starting to lean towards the fact that the agent put it out there to put pressure on Beane. If Beane doesn't crack, he's got to come back before Baltimore, because he'll have more to lose than he'll have to gain. And that's not only monetarily, but also on the football field. He's not going to be out there performing, and it's not a good situation. If you want that deal from even another team down the road next offseason, you need to get out there and play.
I'm flying this out there. I don't know exactly. So, Nickel City crew, if you can prove me wrong, please do. But a running back second contract, that's got to be one of the positions that a third contract is almost.
That's it. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Unless you're an all-time great, you're not getting a third contract. I mean, receivers get third contracts, linemen get third contracts, quarterback get third contracts, defense gets third contracts. Running backs don't get third contracts. And, you saw that probably the biggest example was Le'Veon Bell a few years ago. Somebody who he was never the top back in the league, but similar status to James Cook right now. Very respectable back, was the feature back of his team, held out, tried to get his money. It didn't work, and it fizzled out. Never 3 contracts. So this is he knows probably not another one after this. So obviously trying to maximize. But I think we're just in the ballpark that makes sense. Obviously in the beginning of the offseason when he was talking Saquon money or 16 or 17, that's not going to happen. It's just not. And he knows that, but why not start the negotiation high and go? I think the Williams deal this week really puts it in perspective. Side by side, they were breaking down a bunch of stats on WGR this week about, yards expected and things along that nature. Side by side for each of their teams, Williams and Cook are probably about similar stature, and 11 mil I think is very fair. You look down the list of the top paid backs in the league. Obviously, take out Saquon and Christian, and then you get down to guys like Alvin Kamara 12.6 a year. Alvin Kamara got that 12.6 a couple years ago when he was a lot more of a stud than he is now. He's still productive, but he got that 12.6 a few years ago when he was a lot more of a stud. I think James Cook isn't at the level of Alvin Kamara, when Alvin Kamara was really tearing it up, but similar. So 11-12 is more than fair in my eyes.
Yeah, no, it is more than fair, and then you see the Kyron Williams deal come out, and it was like universal on Twitter. It was like, well, would you give this to James? You know what I mean? With a couple more million guaranteed, like give it to him, and he's got to take it. And I think that it was universal on there that he's got to take that type of contract if they present him with something like that. So I think that it was the hold in, it was the reports from Palacero and Rossini in consecutive days, plus the Kyron Williams thing where by the time Kyron Williams came out, I was like, man, this is getting done. We're getting ready to get an ESPN little pop-up on your phone notification. Like, James Cook is signed. And it, what did Kyron get 23 guaranteed? He's getting 26 guaranteed. And it's a 3-year deal, but it's really essentially a 2-year deal because they'll have an out after the second year. And it didn't get done. So it's just interesting to me how everything kind of played out. And I feel bad. I think that's what it comes down to, the fact that, I hear Bill's Twitter, and they're talking shit about him and get him out of here and stuff like that. And like, listen, respectfully, Bill's Mafia, for those of you like DT just laid out, if you don't understand how it works when it comes to a business, every time that an athlete wants to get paid, that does not make him selfish. It does not make him all about himself and he's anti-team. None of that type of stuff is true. DT is absolutely right. Running backs, this is the contract that is going to set him up for his own generational wealth, and he'll have to be smart about his money after that if he wants it to last to his grandkids. You know what I mean? Things like that. Now, obviously, we can't fathom that. 20 million, 20, you know what I mean? But you got taxes. He's in New York State. A lot of stuff can happen. So this is his payday. I will never, ever disparage another young man for trying to get his bread, man. He is trying to get it. And I think that that's where I fall, DT, is that when today came and I heard that he was not obviously signed, he wasn't coming to practice. And I was just like, man, I just kind of felt like it was like a deflated, like, you don't really have any more cards to play, homie. Because we're what is it, a month away from the season. You're gonna, if Brandon Beane holds true, you're gonna have to fold.
Yeah,
I mean,
give him credit for taking it out all the way to the end, and really, hey, I do respect my game, and I want to get paid. And a thought I also had: do you think there's almost like a reverse tampering amongst NFL like GMs in this situation? Brandon Beane knows Kyron Williams needs to get signed. The GM of the Rams knows James Cook needs to get signed. Do you think those GMs are talking to each other, saying, different conferences really don't matter with each other? Hey, we got to pay these running backs. What are you kind of thinking to give this guy? So, they don't come out with us 15, 16, and then the Bills are like, shoot, now we gotta move up our offer that was 10.5. Do you think these GMs talk about things like that when they have similar players they need to sign, and like, hey, don't bring this up too high. Let's keep this respectable. You get this guy signed for 10 mil. That's going to make me a lot happier because I can get him signed for 10 mil.
Ooh, that is a little bit, now
right?
You're that's a little bit dangerous, because now you're talking back to that whole Pablo Torre, you know what I mean, with the NFLPA and how everybody was butthurt over the fact that, you know what I mean, Jimmy Haslam gave Deshaun Watson all that guaranteed money, and what did one of the owners do? They got together, they colluded, they said, listen, we are not letting this shit happen again. And they literally talked about Herbert and talked about other quarterbacks and their guaranteed contracts that are coming up in the future. I wouldn't put it past it, DT. I wouldn't put it past any of them, because of the fact that, it's the good old boys club. I mean, that's going all the way back to season 1, Nickel City Crew. I talked about the good old boys club. It's a real thing. Wow. You kind of threw me for a
little different thing to think about there. Like,
I have not thought about that.
Yeah. You go to an auction, you know a fellow bidder, and you say, hey, like, it's just you and me in on this. Let's be good to each other here. I'm not going to come in at way above and ruin it all and up this market. And we saw it with the second round picks this year. The second one held out, then it went. And so do you think these owners and GMs are talking like, hey, we're not, as a whole, we're not going over this number. We set the tone back, and eventually everyone just has to get in line.
Ooh, DT.
Yeah.
That's juicy. I'm gonna have to think about that. I will get back to you next week on my thoughts on that, because let's see how next week plays out, because it makes sense. The running back market is clearly defined. You've got the top of the top with Saquon Barkley, the Christian McCaffrey. I think that they gave Derrick Henry, after another amazing season, the Ravens gave him another raise, but they only paid him $8 million. You know what I mean? Like, if James Cook wanted $9 million, you're telling him he's not better than Henry. Of course, you're saying he's not better than, but I mean, I'm here, I'm working. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So I think that he's definitely looking for that above 10. I'm sure that it's in the $10 to $11 million range. And then if it's not the AAV, the annual average value, I'm sure he's looking for that guaranteed over Kyron Williams of that $23 million. And if Brandon Beane can get to that sweet spot, I think this would have already been done. I think that the Kyron Williams contract created a baseline, and I think that that's why I'm most surprised that it's not done quite yet. So everybody's a little bit uncomfortable down there at One Bills Drive. The players, again, they always support their brothers in respects to getting their money. Do not worry about that right now. Bills Mafia, again, final point on it as we transition is that James Cook is not getting ready to lose money. He is not an idiot. His brother did this once before. He has an agent for a reason. He will not be missing games. I think he's just trying to pull every lever that he can, and I almost think that he's out of gas, man. It's like Lightning McQueen. What a Lightning McQueen, he ran. I watched that with the Kings when they were growing up. He ran out of gas, and he had to literally drag himself across the finish line. I think that that's going to be similar to James Cook. I don't think that there's anything else left for him to do other than come back to practice, whether it be next week or the week after. He's got to get ready to play.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. You and these pros know he's year 3 now. He knows, or year 4 too. He knows he's got what he has to do to prepare and what the taxes of the NFL season has in store for him coming up. So I think we're going to see him back on the field soon. My last point with this is, in this, I ramp up my intensity just like the players do. I'm in my preseason mode, and what I've been doing is, obviously we had, Hard Knocks, which we'll get into this week, but every other night I try to find some sort of highlight or pump up, video. It might be a Josh Allen rookie year, but most recently I watched the 2024 Josh Allen MVP highlights.
Okay.
And it's like a 55-minute video. It's not just touchdowns. It's anything over 15 yards. And there's a lot of plays with 4 in it in this highlight reel. Obviously 16 touchdowns last year, you're going to see a lot. But as 17 grows and matures, he's not just ripping it down the middle of the field anymore. He's checking down more than he ever has. And
that's right.
With 4 in it, with 4 in the action there, I think he's a more and more crucial each year, because Josh doesn't care who he throws to anymore. And if it's James Cook out of the backfield to give him some, it's James Cook out of the backfield. He's gotten better running between the tackles. He's explosive around the outside. 16 touchdowns. Where do you get that? I mean, he is on the highlight reel. He's all over the place. He was on Hard Knocks. He had a great play, and it's the whole thing where 17 goes up and let's go 4. And
it's an easy walk in. He's the easy walk in 4.
And I think that has a lot to do with this. And more or less, when all the chips are down, Rob, he's the second best playmaker on this offense behind 17. And there's everybody in this league is going to be a second. Even the best player is going to be a second best, playmaker on this team behind 17. So if you're second behind Josh Allen, that's a pretty good place to be.
It is. I mean, he is. I say you literally stole my Twitter argument from me, because that's what I say to every single person that comes up on Twitter. And then I say it on Facebook when I'm at work, and I'm like, listen, man, the disrespect that James Cook is getting is beyond me. He is the second most explosive player on the Bills outside of Josh Allen. In respects to the offense, I don't understand why you guys want to kick him to the curb. I understand that there's a dynamic where we're forever. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. The fans are forever. Pagula's forever. You know what I mean, so to speak. So players come and go. You don't have to shit on this guy. He's not a bad guy because he was trying to get paid. He is just trying to set up his family for success for the long term. And it's not different than anybody else at their job. It's just a different number. That's all that is. So as we transition tonight's episode is presented by DT. We've got a new sponsor. It's funny because I've been down here in Charlotte since 2006. I love everything about Buffalo. I miss the food so much. please, please, all of Nickel City Crew and Bills Mafia, please check out Taste of Buffalo Pizzeria in Huntersville. DT, I'm trying to tell you, they're cooking it up. I'm friends with the owners. I've been there for years. I've been a patron of them for years. And I just was talking to the owner's daughter, Jen Battaglia, and I was like, listen, man, we're getting ready to start shouting you guys out as a sponsor. She was like, I'm down. We're going to start doing some giveaways throughout the season. Listen, all of my Charlotte, Buffalo Bills Mafia fans, we're getting ready to show out in the fall when DT comes down and joins us for a tailgating for the Bills game. Check out Taste of Buffalo, Pizzeria in Huntersville. Listen, it's authentic. They're from Depew. They cook it the way that all of the people up there in Buff cook it, that DT is so used to. I'm trying to tell you, it's the thick crust. It's the nice sweet sauce, but not too sweet. I'm trying to tell you, they've got it all hooked up. Even the chicken wings are
good.
Listen, man, it's the only place I go to. There's two places I go to, Al's, and I go to Taste of Buffalo, man. Listen, check out Taste of Buffalo Pizzeria in Huntersville. Shout out to Jen Battaglia and her father. They're really running a great little shop over there. So please check them out for sure. And listen, if you're in Charlotte and you haven't checked them out, you're missing out, because it really will take you all the way back to the 716. It'll make you feel like you're back home. DT, as we transition tonight, it's funny because, I mean, we're talking about first preseason game coming up on Saturday. I think the Bills are in a joint practice next week. Sean McDermott just said Josh Allen's not playing on Saturday. The starters will play about a quarter or so, he said, but Josh Allen will not play. They've got that little joint practice with the Chicago Bears next week, and maybe that can serve as kind of a de facto preseason game, and where the quarterback definitely doesn't get touched, that type of thing, where it's more of a controlled environment. I don't know if we see Josh Allen this entire preseason, but DT, I promise you, these injuries are starting to okay, I need you guys to start coming. I mean, Cole Bishop, I mean, everybody wants to anoint him. I was never, excited about him. I understood that he had some physical traits, and then the injuries, his rookie season kind of soured me. And then obviously the over the top Nico Collins in Houston. And I was out at that point, you know what I mean? But not because I'm not saying he's a bust. I was just saying last year for the 2024 Bills defense, I wasn't excited to see Cole Bishop play. He had some hype coming in this year. He gets hurt again. He's out. They say Taylor Rapp is out. They said that he should be coming back in about a week or so. Nothing serious. They say that they claim Cole Bishop is coming back and he's ramping up and he should be back soon. DT, the injuries have been just something. I mean, the wide receiver room, it's Christian Wilkerson catching all these balls in training camp. I mean, even Tyrell Shavers, who's a camp favorite, he has been hurt. Yeah. DT, man, these injuries, man, I didn't want to name the episode Injury Bug because we did that last season, but it seems to be a reoccurring theme. I don't blame it on the training staff, but boy, I mean, talk about luck. We kind of need these boys to get back ready to go. They got a month. They've got a month. They got 30 days.
30 days. Discouraging for sure. You got to take it though if it's now rather than in the season, right? Get all the bumps and bruises out, get used to it. And Steve Tasker said it this week on One Bills Live. He said the injury rate in the NFL on a roster is 100%. Through the season, every single player that steps on that field will be injured in some way or another. It doesn't mean they're going to miss time, but you are injured. It's just too physical, too a gladiator of a game. And obviously they're not banging hard in practice, but these dudes haven't been going, they've been training, but they haven't been going hard like this all off season, where it's man up, you're taking cuts every time. You're literally trying to make a spot, trying to make millions of dollars each and every day. And that's gonna really extend things. So as the season goes, hopefully it kind of settles down and it planes out. The roster's set. They're in game plans. It kind of moves forward. I'm chalking it up as, hopefully that means it's intensity. It's been super intense. Guys are just getting back into it. A lot of soreness, a lot of small stuff, if you will, other than, the big with even a sprained ankle is still coming back in a few weeks for Shakir. And we missed the ACL with Harrison. So hopefully it's now. The intensity's up. Everyone just a little sore, beat up, cutting a little hard. When the season comes, it kind of planes out. But these guys got to get reps too, Rob. So two sides of every coin with that. I don't think it's this bad around the league, but everybody is feeling this, in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is feeling it for sure. I agree with you on that. It just seems like, and maybe you're right. Maybe it's just because it's our team, and we're more hyper focused on it. But I mean, the receivers. I mean, we've had Khalil's out, ankle injury. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. They said he's week to week. Tyrell Shavers, we talked about. Samuel, I haven't seen him much at all because he's been hurt. You know what I mean? And it's a second straight year. So I think that when it comes to Cole Bishop specifically. Cole Bishop and Samuel. This is now, the second year in a row where there's a built-in excuse. And what what have I talked about all offseason, DT? I'm trying to root out and eliminate all built-in excuses. They said that, Curtis Samuel had a turf toe, and that's why they couldn't give him the ball out of the backfield, and they couldn't really utilize the things that we saw in Washington and Carolina with him because he just wasn't right. Okay, you got to eat it. Okay, no problem. Cole Bishop. Well, he missed a lot of camp because he was hurt and stuff like that. We're doing the same thing again this year. I know that the Bills don't want it to be the case, but it is the case. And I think I just want all hands on deck for week one, because I do know that even though we could lose that game to Baltimore at home, Sunday Night Football to kick off the season, I do know that there are number one seed implications. And if we're going to keep, listen, DT, I'm just going to keep the main thing. The main thing is that the number one seed is something that we've never obtained. That's my main focus for this 2025 regular season. So because of that, I just don't like the vibes. Listen, I heard DeMar Hamlin's been playing great, and you know what I mean? And he'll step in if he has to. I think they've got, Derek Forrester to back up Rap if Rap can't go. I just want all hands on deck, DT, because of the fact that it's a situation where I just don't want built-in excuses before we even start playing games, because that's when we start getting in arguments come January, February.
And it's tough to make that excuse because we don't even know what this team is going to be, right? We have high expectations, but we can't say coulda, shoulda, woulda if we start the year and there's all these injuries and, we would have went far if we didn't have all these injuries. Like, we don't know how good we're going to be this year. There's good teams every year that come in and aren't good. I obviously don't believe that. I think with 17, it makes a whole different playing field when it comes to fairness and probability and the swings of the league back and forth. But it's just not something you want. And these young guys, that was the biggest thing last year. It was not the reps in training camp for Cole Bishop, and then every time he got on the field, it was limited. And when he looked like he needed the reps. So a lot of guys, veterans and young guys, and it just, I got to go with that first theory. Have them now, get banged up now. The intensity's high. Everyone's trying to make a roster playing out during the regular season. And I think this team is, definitely training camp at St. John Fisher is going to be a little more intense than the next couple of weeks of practice, especially getting prepared for game weeks. You're traveling. All those things are involved. I think it's going to settle down a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would assume and I would hope, you know what I mean, things like that. So that's all you can do is hope. I just think that it's a troubling trend when you see guys that have been injured before and they still can't, get it right. Kincaid was even banged up to start, and then he missed some, and then now I see him out there. He's catching passes, got the sleeve on his right knee. You're absolutely right. What did Doug Whaley say one time? Humans are not meant to play football. And everybody threw their hands up, and I'm like, well, he's not lying. He might not have been so eloquent in saying it, but the human body was not meant to beat up on each other the way that they do in football. He was absolutely 100% right. So, I get it. I do understand that injuries, and sometimes it's hard when you get the injury prone label, that type of thing, because it's not always fair. And obviously Trey White, Matt Milano, they say he's balling out in camp and stuff like that. So obviously it's not linear. You know what I mean? Just because you had an injury doesn't mean that you're going to continue to get one. Just because you had an injury does not mean that you're going to be shitty going forward. It's just a situation where it makes it a little bit tough to rely and to feel confident about some of these guys, because Taylor Rapp, I mean, this is your audition, man, right? I mean, you're supposed to be the cornerback. You're a second round pick. You're supposed to be a safety. You're supposed to be back there with Rapp. I don't know, man. I don't like the built-in excuses. Same thing with Samuel. I know Samuel will be on the team because of his salary, and the dead cap is way too much to cut him, even with Elijah Moore. I need you. Can you be right for week one? Can Josh Allen have all of his weapons for week one? That's really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be the game of inches, Rob. We're falling short of an inch multiple years now, and all those players give us a little inch. So I agree 100%. I'm going to remain positive with it. I'm not worried about it until I start seeing actual L's.
I got it. I got you. I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. You beat me. You beat me down. Cole Bishop, get back to practice.
Yeah, for real.
Curtis Samuel, get back to practice. Khalil, get back healthy. Everybody get back healthy, and let's be all hands on deck for Week 1, Sunday night football against Baltimore. Now, as we begin to wrap up tonight, DT, it's funny because I'm a Hard Knocks enthusiast. I'm a Hard Knocks like junkie. I've been on it for forever, since I'm talking about since the Ravens back in the day, where they locked Shannon Sharp in the damn trailer. They locked the tight ends in the trailer once, Ray Lewis did, and stuff. I'm just into it, and Rex Ryan before he was our coach, and let's go get a goddamn snack, and you know what I mean, and the whole Darrelle Revis holdout. I love Hard Knocks. I love the view that they give of the teams and different things like that. Now they've gotten away from cutting guys live, not live, but cutting guys on TV, and like that's kind of the train wreck that you don't necessarily have to see. You don't necessarily need to see. It's already tough enough to imagine those guys and their dreams, shattering. And I'm sure that they'll do a little bit of that in respects to cut down day as the show, progresses. DT, it was all sunshine and rainbows on Tuesday night for the season premiere, episode 1 of the Buffalo Bills Hard Knocks. I'm not knocking it, no pun intended, but it was it almost was like the blue and red embedded, like it was almost like an embedded show. Like it was all positive. Everything was good. Everybody was slurping on the Josh Allen. Everything was just lovely. And I've got some thoughts on it, but I wanted to know because I know you and I texted that morning, the morning after on Wednesday, and it was positive for sure. There was nothing negative. Now, before you give your points, I never thought that they were going to bring James Cook up this week with the hold in because it happened so late in the week. It happened after the blue and red, so I never thought that they were going to bring that up. I'm expecting it to be next week that they at least talk about it. If they don't talk about it, then you know that the Bills have full editorial control, and they're literally running an HBO version of Blue and Red embedded. And I don't necessarily want that. I want to see the truth. I like to see this behind the scenes shit. How did you take that first episode? It was sunshines, buffaloes, and rainbows.
Yeah. Well, it was easy to be rainbows when majority of the episode is just about 17, and literally what bad are you going to say about it? And the camp process, he's the leader of this team. He loves camp. He's a guy's guy. The fans love him. He's everything about it. It's easy to really hype that up. But we're some of the biggest homers out there. And I was like, damn, am I like dating Josh Allen right now? Like they are really forcing me to like this guy. So I like it. I think, if there's any, it's tough to have doubters out there in the world nowadays with 17, but if there is any and they're watching Hard Knocks, it's going to be hard not to like the guy. Another New Balance flash. I don't know if you saw that right out of the gate when he's walking barefoot up into another little NB, and I think we will see the end on those cleats when we start this season up. But I was into it, man. I kind of am not. I liked Hard Knocks. I liked when it was a little rougher around the edges, and
me too.
And then it got kind of soft, and with these bad teams, it was just kind of like got a little boring sometimes. But now, obviously, I'm all in on Tuesday. It really puts into perspective how much there really is. Like they talked a little Josh Allen. Deion Dawson drifting was pretty cool. I had no idea he did any of that.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That looks fun as well. I want to kind of get out there.
I was like, man, they must be in Orchard Park where like they're out in the woods and nobody's complaining about the noise.
I think it's on the reservation in Irving. They got a big drift community down there, if you will. There's one right on when you come up next month. Keep an eye when the big Indian, the Indian out on the side of the road. Sure. It's right there. It's a little drift park, and they're always ripping. Smoke's always flying up. So I think it was somewhere around there. That was cool. Tre'Davious White just like he never left, right? He belongs here, and that's what another thing I got out of that episode. Tre'Davious White belongs on this team. If his production isn't high, I'm still not even mad about it this year. I
They
think
say he's been
it might
balling out
be.
at camp. They say
Yeah,
he's
it
been
might be. But
balling
even
out.
if it isn't, I'm not mad about it. He deserves to be on this team. He is Buffalo. He fits every mold we want to see.
He really does.
It was good. It was good. I like the aspects of it. It was funny at some parts. Obviously, all over JA. It's going to be a good season. I think we're in for a lot more. Obviously, we didn't even see Keon Coleman. We didn't see anything really on the defense at all. The only defensive blur was when Bobby Babich is just like, "Don't touch 17."
So most
Don't
of the new
touch
dudes said, "Don't
17.
touch him. Don't touch
And
him
yeah,
at all." I love
Thurman
it.
Thomas gave him some credit after the practice. Thurman Thomas said defense got the best of y'all today, and I know the offense hopefully was pissed about that and came back and smacked him around the next day. But
Defense 1, offense 0.
yeah, it was cool, good production. I'm watching it obviously a lot closer than I have in the previous years, but I think overall great production, and I'm looking forward to the rest.
Yeah, I think that it definitely was great production in NFL films. They always do a great job, so I was never worried about that or anything like that. Again, because I'm a Hard Knocks lifer, and you took the words out of my mouth, because they used to be way rougher around the edges, not just with cutting guys and stuff like that, but they used to be just more rough around the edges. Respects to
camp used to be full pads pretty much the whole time, and they were just banging. Yeah.
What did Thurman say? Thurman said we would go pads twice a day. He said this, and then the third practice is the walkthrough. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So it's funny to see how, it's interesting to see, how the evolution comes and how things change throughout the years. It's funny because not only was Thurman being on there made me nostalgic, but then when I saw the way that Trey White was, I don't know, man, just I don't know how to even describe it. It wasn't just him running up the hill. It was the fact that, like, how he talked about Buffalo. Then he's at the damn ice cream parlor and he's wilding out, you know what I mean, with Christian Bedford, and he said, "Let me buy 25 of my brownie sundae or cookie sundae, and let me give it out to," and like all of that type of stuff is the little stuff that is really, really cool to me. And you hit it on the head. I was going to talk about Trey White because my niece knows his wife, his fiance, through her hair business and stuff like that. And shout out to Ling Lings. And I was like, man, I was so sad when he left but it was necessary. We talked about it. It was that red day, where all the guys go, and it was sad. And then to hear that he's back, and then he's not only back, but he's balling, made me feel so much better. Not just because of the fact that, it hurts that Max Harrison got hurt, and he's the first round pick, and he's got that elite speed, and I hope that he's okay. And clearly he didn't tear anything, so he's going to be back in a few weeks, that type of thing. But reports out of camp, DT, was that Trey was already winning that job to begin with.
Yeah.
It was going to be the rookie that had to learn from the and learn and sit, because of the fact that Trey was balling so hard. I am so proud of the fact that he is balling, that he's healthy, that he's feeling good in his body, because you hit it on the head. He's a Bills Wall of Famer all day. If you put Hyde and Poyer together on the Wall of Fame, then you better be putting Trey White on there, Kyle Williams on there. You got to be putting those guys on there, because they laid the foundation. That's Brandon Beane's, that's Sean McDermott's first draft pick. That's before Josh. That same year was Deion Dawkins, right? Deion Dawkins was second round. It was Trey and then Deion. Like, these guys laid the foundation. So to see Trey White being so healthy, back in good spirits, back in Buffalo where he belongs, and then when I saw him run up that hill, I was like, man, this dude gives a shit. And he gives a shit. And it just made me feel proud, man, that he's on my team, that he's a part of my team. And I was really, really, I think I was most happy that he's healthy, and that it's not like, with the washed up, the guy comes back, he's washed up, you know what I mean? He doesn't have anything left, but it's more ceremonial. This is not ceremonial. They said that this dude was already playing Maxwell Harrison, you know what I mean, in the actual training camp practices, and that Max was going to have to go ahead and earn it before he got hurt. So it makes me feel just a little bit better. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me.
Big time. Yeah, come in, make plays. I had, very low expectations to this. We don't know still. We got to see week one. I don't I need Maxwell Harrison back. We talked with Coach Oliver a few weeks ago on
Hmm.
the depth. The depth. We finally are getting some depth now, but we need that depth there because I don't see Trey White, dominating for 17-week season.
Right.
There's gonna be ups
That's
and downs
true.
with that. There's gonna be fatigue.
That's true.
Hopefully not another injury, but all possible. So yeah, I want to see the
No, that's
depth.
true.
But it was buttoned up, man. The team looks buttoned up. They talk process, they talk culture, and obviously they were fluffing it up, and the Bills see everything that before it goes out. But this organization looks tight. Everybody's on the same page. It's well run. It's led by the best quarterback in the world. I think the world saw that it's not just talent. That good teams in the NFL aren't just talent. It's got to be a full culture. And I think the Buffalo Bills showed that they have the great culture to the whole world on Tuesday night.
Yeah, man, it's really exciting. I really enjoyed Trey White for sure. I enjoyed the show for sure. I mean, I know it was a little bit lollipop, but I enjoyed it, and I think that I'll be surprised. Like I said, I'll be surprised if they don't talk like that's a Liv Shriver, coming back from what I mean, a pan out view, and then they got to keep it real. Like their top offensive player outside of Josh Allen is not there in camp. He came. Then he went out. Like they've got to touch on it a little bit. So we'll see how much editorial control, like I said, the Bills have. If they completely blackball James Cook from next episode, then you'll know that it is it's some propaganda for sure. They are running a Bills embedded. I didn't necessarily want to see that, but I did like seeing, just the coaches and stuff like that. I heard on WGR this week, like it's good to hear the coaches curse and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like you already should assume that they talk like that.
Yeah.
They talk like just all the other coaches and stuff like that. They're real people. Joe Brady is a real person. Sometimes you use curse words to accentuate what you're trying to say, accentuate your point. And I do that, you know what I mean? And like I don't have any problem with that or anything like that. I'm intelligent enough not to use curse words, but sometimes it's just easiest to to accentuate your point with just some curse words. So it was cool to see that they're human, they're regular people. I did love that Bobby Babbage thing. He told Joey Bosa, and Joey's the newest guy on the D, and he do not even come close to 17. He said, we know that he runs everything in respects to the offense. He kept it respectful with the offense, but he really could have said the team. If this motherfucker go down, it's gonna be a problem for all of us. So don't even come close to him. So I really enjoyed that part. It was funny to me. I enjoyed it. Listen, as we wrap up tonight, DT, I really enjoy and really appreciate you coming on tonight. I know that you've got some stuff coming up this weekend. The Nickel City Crew Tailgate Report. We got to get back into our form. It's training camp for us as well. It's presented by Queen City Vintage. Check out Queen City Vintage. Listen, Nick and our boys over there at Queen City Vintage, they're right on Elmwood across from 40 Thieves. Check them out, man. I think they're going to be on Hard Knocks. I saw cameras in the store.
I have somewhat breaking news. So
break it.
Nick got invited to the premiere of Hard Knocks on Tuesday, right at North Park Theater, right by the crib. And the producer said, barring any extreme, developing story, they will be in a segment. So we're gonna see him. We're gonna see him.
Ooh, well, listen, check out Queen City Vintage, the guys that you will see on a future Hard Knocks episode. Listen, Queen City Vintage, they're running a great storefront over there on Elmwood. Listen, all of your Bills threads, the Marv Levy. Congratulations. Happy birthday to Marv Levy, 100 years old to Coach Levy. You've got sweater. You can get the Marv Levy sweater. You can get, old 90s stuff. You can get everything that you want to get yourself geared up for the 2025 Buffalo Bills season. Head on over to Queen City Vintage. They do sponsor our Nickel City Crew Tailgate Report. DT, what do you have going on? Most of our listeners will be listening tomorrow on Friday. I know it's late Thursday. Preseason games are on right now. What's going on, DT? Why couldn't we record tomorrow? What you got going?
We're wheels up. We're wheels up, heading southwest, I guess, into Ohio. My best friend Kai, who's an avid listener to Nickel City Crew, the Vikings fan, him and his fiance Paige are getting married in October. So we're throwing the bachelor party this weekend. We're heading out to Ohio, Geneva on the Lake, a real nice lake town. Looking forward to it. Weekend full of activities and starts off quick tomorrow. We're out and early, picking the boys up, hitting the golf course, and letting it ride. Really looking forward to it.
Good, good, good. Please enjoy it out there this weekend. I am literally just with the princesses this weekend. So I mean, like the Kings are all hanging out. Bobby and Nate went to Cedar Point. Their mother sent me, she said, YouTube this ride, YouTube this ride. And I'm like, I'm looking at these rides and I'm like, I love roller coasters and I might get queasy.
Yeah, that place no joke, man.
Like,
that place is no joke.
I said, what? I said, she's like, this one was a TT2. And she's like, your son held his hands the entire time up in the air. And when I watched this shit on YouTube, I got queasy. I was like, what the fuck are they? They go up and then back and then up and around. I was like, yo, and flipping. I was like, yo, man, this is way too much. Then they have one like a Predator, like the Predator back in Darien Lake, but it's wooden. And that is only similarity because it is not the Predator. They are going all over. I was like, yo, man, I said, this might be too much for me. And I love roller coasters. So the boys are in Cedar Point. They just went to Buffalo. They'll be back next week. I've got little Quincy with me and the princesses, man. So I'll be chilling this weekend, DT. Not a lot going on. It's slow motion. It's preseason, DT. I'm just chilling. I'll watch the game. I'll put the game on NFL Network on Sunday. I'll just, it's all preseason right now. I am locked in. I am ready. It's funny because I was driving home from work today, and I know the listeners will listen on Friday. On Thursday, somebody called in and said one thing about Sean McDermott. And when I tell you that it sparked a conversation that it spanned an entire hour of WGR of the afternoon show. It was so funny because it was Bulldog and Nate Geary, who's a friend of the show. We're going to have him back on as well. He's already been on the show a couple times. And it's so funny how what you can say one thing and then all of a sudden people just the phones start ringing and half of them are defending McDermott, half of them are ready to fire him. And it was just it was so funny to see the dichotomy because he's still a polarizing figure among Bills Mafia, and for good reason, for sure. But it was just so funny because I thought of you as I was literally driving home from work in the rain here in Charlotte. So, which means that the traffic slows down and everybody's being all cautious and all this other stuff. And one dude called up talking shit about McDermott. The Bulldog defended him, and then it was just it was like an hour, a flurry of calls both ways on each side of the fence. And some guys sounded like me, some guys sounded like, the staunchest McDermott defenders. And it was just so funny to just listen to. I was like, man, this is Bills. We are anxious. We're on the edge of our seats. We're ready. We're ready for a parade. We've put in our work. We've paid our dues. You know what I mean, DT? And like, it's the fan base. We're just itching, man. And as we get closer to Baltimore Sunday Night Football, we're itching. What did I say? I'm just looking for that number one seed, and then let me just see what that looks like. I've seen what everything else looks like. I've seen on the road to Kansas City. What did we say? Let's wake them up in the middle of the night with a fire alarm pull. We've seen them in Buffalo, and you and I sat there. We've seen, Cincinnati. We've seen pretty much everything except the number one seed. Let's not even play that first weekend, Bills Mafia. Let's not even play that first weekend, Nickel City Crew. And let's see if that helps us out. I don't know. Some funky shit could happen on Wild Card Weekend. You never know. Yeah. I think that's where I'm laying my chips, DT.
I agree, and I love that, but I'll reverse it. We got to go day by day. We got to go week by week. This week, big preseason 1. Get out there, earn some spots, create intensity. Like I said, we saw in Hard Knocks. It's a culture, it's a lifestyle, it's every day, and they have to live this every day to be there in February. So each day, baby, 1-0 starting this week.
I love it. I love it. DT always keeps me on a level playing field. Always keeps my head even keel. I love it, man. Listen. Out there, listen, Bills Mafia, we really appreciate you tonight joining us. Again, we will release this tomorrow. Shout out to our creative director, Olivia Nagel, who will make sure that you guys all get your normal weekly fix of Nickel City Crew. We'll release that tomorrow for you guys. But for the lifers who are on here on the chat and watching us, we really appreciate you guys tonight. Listen, out there, spread love, not hate. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a Go Bills, DT. Hit them with one.
Go Bills. 30 days. Go Bills.
Go Bills, 30 days. I like that. I can relate to that. Go Bills.